Greetings everyone, welcome back. We are here with Greg Roberts of Volti Audio based near Nashville, where he makes his brand new Vittora loudspeakers. Now these are the modern versions of the ones Art Dudley reviewed way back in, what year was that?
2013 he did that review.
Wow. So Greg, what constitutes the upgrade? Upgrade's not really the right word. This is essentially a brand new model based on the Vittora.
Yeah, I think it's an upgrade. To me it is. When I first introduced this model 15 years ago, I had to keep it simple, lower cost as much as I could, because it was my only speaker model at the time. Now I have a lineup of speakers, lower in price, so I felt like I could just let go on this now and do everything that I really want to do to it. And so one of the major changes that anybody who's familiar with the speaker will see right away is that the tweeter, instead of being on the side, is now centered above the mid-range. And I like that a lot better. Also, if a keen eye will notice that the mid-range horn is considerably larger than the last one, and you might also notice curves here instead of the pointed flat panels that we had before. And generally it's a larger bass horn, and I have done a lot of work to this bass horn to improve the upper bass that's coming from it. So here we have a crossover point of 400 hertz between here and the mid-range horn, and the band of frequencies, 150 to 400 hertz, to me is one of the most important areas in music to reproduce music with a live sound and to really capture the essence of live instruments and what they truly sound like. And so I tell people to think of this as much a large mid-range horn as a bass horn, because it really is very intricately built on the inside to be just like a very large mid-range horn. That's one of the reasons when you sit and listen to the speaker, you cannot hear the transition from this to this.
That was my impression when I heard it yesterday, without a doubt. Have the individual drivers changed from the original Vittora?
They have not. They're the same drivers that were in the original Vittora, the same horn, the same shape of horn in the mid-range, just larger now, and as I say, a little bit more intricate build to the bass horn.
And is it birch ply?
It is, yes. Hang on just a second. Check this out. I don't know if your camera's picking that up or not.
Yeah.
But that is a cross section of the curved side of the bass cabinet, just to give you an idea of the build quality. That is over an inch thick. It's Baltic birch plywood. It is 9 layers laminated. People always think I steam bend these things, but that's not how it's done. It's a sandwich of thin layers laid over a form in a vacuum bag. The vacuum bag holds that for 5 hours, and I come back and I have a permanently curved piece of wood. Very, very high quality construction in this speaker. You'd be hard pressed to find a higher quality wooden speaker cabinet on the market.
And how is you mentioned the change of the taper in the bass horn. What's happening there? It's curved? I can't quite make it out.
Yeah, it's curved now, so it's just part of my my strategy, if you will, from the throat section, the slot throat, out to the outside. I wanted to improve the expansion to make it smoother, and it becomes more like a mid-range horn in that respect. So it is, when you're designing something like a bass horn, the bass that you get from it is sort of out of your control, if you will. It is based on the size of the horn, size of the horn mouth, length of the horn, size of the chamber, and the driver, and you're going to get what you get as far as extension in the bass. There's really not much you can do about it. But what I do have control over is how the upper bass, or what I consider the lower mid-range, how that makes it out through the pathway of the horn. And so by doing this, it's just an improvement on that pathway of the horn.
Yesterday you told a viewer, a visitor, that they go down to 50 hertz, but I don't notice any lack of bass. I'm not thinking, where's the bass? It's such a full, seamless sound top to bottom.
I hear that a lot, and I have customers who swear that they really don't need any help below 50 hertz, but I know better because I've tested them and I can see that this 40 hertz is just not happening, and some music requires that. I think more importantly, what I find is that when I have low frequency extension help below these bass horns, which is something that comes with the speaker, by the way, my own design, I call it an ELF system, ELF, Extended Low Frequency System. And I don't want to get into it in too much detail today, but it is something that extends the bass from 50 down to 20 hertz, and it integrates really well. And this is what's so important about it, is that when it's operational, you cannot tell that it's a separate unit from this. The low frequencies sound just like they're coming from the main speakers. And that is really important to me. I don't want to hear a subwoofer. I don't like subwoofers. I don't want to hear them as a separate element. So,
Are you running the sub, which is off camera, each time you play the full system?
I have been.
You have been?
Yeah.
Wow, so it's beautifully integrated. That's always my problem with subwoofers.
Yeah.
They never sound integrated. They always stick out.
Exactly.
But I wouldn't have known.
So that's why I don't call it a subwoofer, even though for the rest of my life I will have to explain that it's not a subwoofer. I'll do that. I'll take that burden on. But it's a very uniquely tuned cabinet. It's something that I designed myself, and you know, there's funny things I can say about it. The driver doesn't like that cabinet at all. The driver's complaining the whole time, but it's doing exactly what I want it to do. And so it took me a while to get that, but you know, it makes such a difference because, like you say, you cannot locate it. When you're sitting in the center seat listening to your system, you can't tell at all that there's something else going on there. It just sounds like these go way lower than they should for that size bass horn.
Well, they're just so beautiful. All your speakers are beautiful and natural. I've had the Rivals. I have the Luceras in my house now. What else did I have before that? I had the Raz. I had the Raz. And all of your speakers that I've had allow you to play with the resistors, 4 resistors. Now, what does that allow the customer to do, or the listener to do?
So it allows them to adjust the output level of the mid-range and the tweeter in relation to the woofer. So the woofer is just giving you all it can, and all horn speakers are attenuating the mid-range and tweeter to balance to the woofer. These components are much more high sensitivity than the woofer is. So this is our limiting factor on sensitivity, and then you balance that and that to that. And so by changing resistors, my customers can maybe add just a little bit to the mid-range if they want, add a little bit of sparkle on top end. We're talking just 1 dB increments. What I find is that everybody says, Greg, I love that option to be able to do that. However, very few of my customers actually change from the factory.
I've played with it a bunch on all the speakers, and I always end up flat. Finally, address the idea that people seem to have. It's an old idea that horns are colored. There's nothing colored about these, but why do people say that?
Well, because they have been, you know, horns have been around for decades, and they have had issues. I think, you know, the way I see it is that horns are great at just drawing people in immediately. When you hear a horn speaker, you go, wow, what a sound. And then after a while, could be an hour, could be a week, could be a month, you start hearing things. And that's always the way it's been with horns. It was the way it was for me with my horn speakers that I had 25 years ago. And I wanted to fix that. I wanted to make something better than that. I wanted to get rid of that harshness that I heard sometimes, the glare, the colorations. I wanted to take care of that. And so that's what really sort of led me into this business. This was way before I was in the audio business. I was in the home building business at the time. And but I fixed my horn speakers. And in doing so, I learned how to make mid-range horns that don't have those colorations.
They sound beautiful to my ear. Thanks, Greg.
I'm glad you like them.
Thanks a lot, man.
All right.